Hey, not only grown-ups can sing, we can too.
So easy on me, baby. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to.
CBC TV 8 is having a kids karaoke show just for us. So children between the ages of 5 to 17 comment and join in for fun. Email Nadia Foster at nfoster@cbc.bb. Hear you soon. Bye.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities. Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aagrant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroke Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives, and when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
105.1 The One is more than a station.
We don't just play music, we keep you company, cheer you up.
This is the CBC Morning Report for today, Friday, October 6th. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story, bringing Barbados' education system to the world standards for all involved will require key partnerships. That's according to Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley. Delivering the future address at the launch of the education transformation proposals, she spoke to some of the links already established, such as one between Erdiston Teachers Training College and an Ivy League institution.
The partnership will also come in twinning Erdiston Teachers Training College with an Ivy League school to be able to ensure that the capacity constraints of Erdiston and Barbados with a declining population do not undermine our ability to do what you heard here this evening. Because if we are to be the best that we can be, we heard that we need to provide the leadership training and the teacher training on a continuous basis to be relevant to the times in which we live, but never leaving the values that are necessary to anchor our people with Bajan values.
Motley says the partnerships are not only external. Proposals are in place.
The Ministry of Education cannot execute this on its own. They will need almost every other ministry in this country if they are to be successful in ensuring that we can roll out this program over the course of the next few years. The partnerships with the Barbadian households and communities. This is not about school children alone. This is not even about parents alone. It's about living in a safe society. It's about living in a healthy country. It is about doing the things that are necessary to allow our people to guarantee that Mission 2030 is possible, but beyond that, that we can, for the first time as an independent country, give ourselves the assurance that we are truly making each child matter for that firm foundation that is necessary for this country to move to the next level.
Now, referring to a recent conversation with the diaspora at St. Francis College, New York, she made the point that many felt as though they left the island without having a fair enough chance in the education system.
I asked a simple question: how many people in this room, there were about 400 or 500 people, how many Bajans in this room left Barbados feeling that they needed to have another chance to be able to access education or training and not to be constrained by the judgment of somebody else about what school they went to or what school tie they had or what they could achieve or not achieve in life? And it hurt my heart when 2/3 of the room put up their hands. This country cannot keep exporting some of its best talent simply because we have not given them the chance to be the best that they can be in the land of their birth. It cannot be.
In presenting some of the proposals for transformation, Director of Education in the Transformation Unit, Dr. Ida Mae Denny, says there has to be a strong focus on certain critical elements for the nation's children.
Mastery of competencies, social and emotional learning targets. You know, our children now seem to be devoid of any emotions. And we see that demonstrated in the videos that we see with the fights going on, especially, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but especially among our females. So therefore, there has to be a strong focus in everything we do on developing social and emotional targets. We must have performance standards for each level. We can no longer continue to judge this system on how many children pass for X or Y school. We must be looking at how many of our children mastered the curriculum at the particular level. And of course, we need to have a strong focus on global citizenship. We are not only preparing these children to operate in Barbados, but across the wider world.
Up on the CBC Morning Report, we'll tell you which CARICOM country is full of investment opportunities.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kia Lewis, General Practitioner and Healthy Lifestyle Advocate. Good nutrition starts at home. So this school year, I want you to consider packing healthy, nutritious snacks and lunches for your children to carry, rather than having them buy them at school.
Guyana's Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, says there is no shortage of investment opportunities in every sector in the Guyanese economy. He was at the time addressing an investment and capital markets conference, as we hear in this NCN-TV report.
Investments into domestic companies are being encouraged to capitalize on current and emerging opportunities outside of the oil and gas sector. Minister Singh told the conference that the government is currently funding the development of the non-oil sectors to become more competitive and sustainable. This includes heavy investment into infrastructure to provide connectivity to neighboring countries and the infrastructural build-out in the energy, agriculture, and tourism sectors, among others. As a result, he says the opportunities are abundant.
That there is no shortage of investment opportunity in Guyana in every single sector of economic activity. In every sector of economic activity, there's no shortage of investment opportunity. There's no shortage of opportunity to partner with domestic companies and Guyanese nationals to capitalize, to take advantage of the economic opportunities that are emergent.
The finance minister was at the time addressing the Jamaica Stock Exchange Investments and Capital Markets Conference, which is notably the first regional conference held outside of Jamaica.
For a sound capital market to emerge is a sound macroeconomic context. One where the economy is growing in a sustainable and real way, where real investment opportunities exist and are emerging, where there is a demand for financing to be raised.
St. Lucia's Minister of Tourism, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, has repeated government's commitment to developing a sustainable tourism industry. The announcement comes after public criticism of the current administration following the recent announcement of more hotels projects. DBS Television has more.
Sustainable tourism encompasses economic, social, and environmental issues, as well as improving visitors' experiences and addressing the needs of host communities. The current administration's stance on this matter has been defended by the Tourism Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Recently announced hotel projects, including a Hyatt-branded condo hotel at Casaba, have faced criticism on social media. These projects were touted by Prime Minister Philippe Pierre in a video news released last Friday on the occasion of Tourism Week.
For the first time in this country, 3 hotels have been built at one time, because there's a demand for St. Lucia. Hyatt just announced this week that they're going to build a hub in St. Lucia. So that's going to be helping. Construction on secrets. I was told yesterday that probably within the next 2 weeks we will see construction on the Secrets Hotel. Tourism will remain for quite a long time the most important sector.
Some individuals have expressed anger regarding the announcement of these tourism-related developments and have accused the current administration of being hypocritical in its position on hotel developments compared to its stance while in opposition. However, Dr. Hilaire has clarified that his stance has not changed and that he is committed to a sustainable tourism industry.
But what did we say when we were in opposition? Recently we had a panel discussion and I spoke about sustainable tourism. My position in opposition and now remains the same. My position as a youth leader in NYC many years ago to today remains the same. It has not changed. And there's nothing we said in opposition. We never said do not build hotels. Never ever said do not build hotels. We criticized Cabot because lands that the NIC was about to buy was instead monies taken from NIC and given to the developer to purchase it. We had an issue with how they were proceeding in the development. There were sites of historical significance that we thought should be preserved, and we still believe that now. I still believe that now.
The tourism minister says he will only support development that does not damage the country's natural, historic and cultural heritage.
You know our position at the SH. We said from day one, we're not against the development. We're against the terms and conditions of the development. Why would you want to build a bridge to Maria Island and build skyscrapers on Maria Island? We would not support that. We're not against development.
Experts in Trinidad and Tobago contend crime-fighting strategies outlined in Monday's national budget can be impactful. However, management and adaptability will be key to unlocking the solutions. Security expert Garvin Hara and criminologist Dr. Randy Seep Persad also believe initiatives to transform the police service have the potential to arrest the crime situation. CNC3 Television brings us more.
The Ministry of National Security's $6.9 billion budget allocation is the largest in the last 8 years.
Man on the ground is going to question and going to ask, yes, but how is that going to stop the killing?
But let's stick a pin for a moment in this point raised by strategic security consultant Garvin Hara and zero in on government's 2024 public sector investment program for public safety and citizen security. Existing and new initiatives will form the national security's formula for bolstering a safe and stable environment. $123.4 million have been set aside to improve the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard's infrastructure and equipment. Funding has also been earmarked for upgrades and refurbishments at the Defence Force and Air Guard. And further to the Finance Minister's budget announcement of an additional funding for TTPS vehicles and equipment, $175.9 million will also go towards refurbishing and constructing new police facilities. Circling back to Hara, he noticed that plans to accelerate the recruitment of police officers in 2024 present new ways to tackle transnational crime.
It's a good opportunity now to step back and revisit and review our recruitment and selection process. I am saying make Spanish-speaking officers mandatory, not just teaching Spanish in the recruit training. Recruit Spanish-speaking men and women, because that is a silent threat to crime and criminality in this country.
$1.5 million will be spent on outfitting the police academy with additional facilities and support structures to accommodate the increased intake. Hara further noted the importance of aligning the National Security Ministry with the budget's theme of building capacity for diversification and growth within a world of changes. Criminologist Dr. Randy Persad said sustaining more boots on the ground should not come at the cost of existing measures.
We also need to look at more strategic ways of using the resources that we do have, given that it's a very expensive and ongoing cost to hire police officers.
An estimated $65 million is expected to be allocated for the body camera system project. Meanwhile, former Top Cop Gary Griffith stated that the finance minister's budget initiatives were a resurrection of previous plans which had been shelved.
Fresh off the announcement by Belize's police commissioner of a decline in major crimes, former Minister of National Security Michael Perfet is suggesting the figures presented are being adjusted to suit the government. He says the crime situation in the CARICOM state is getting worse.
When the numbers didn't suit them, they didn't talk about numbers and statistics. Know that technically you don't have murders as much, which is the most high-profile crime you can have. You can say crime is down, but crime is not down. Remember, the big ones in terms of what is a reflection of your economy are burglaries and robberies. Those are not down. And not only that, the policy of this government is that any burglary or robbery under $5,000 is not reported in the statistics. And most burglaries and robberies are under $5,000. So all they're doing, they are juking the stats. They're influencing the stats, like when the Prime Minister comes and says 2.8% unemployment. Are you out of your mind? If there was ever a time to say a fool it out, but not fully listen. So all they do is adjust the stats and put it out there thinking that people will buy it. But fundamentally speaking, we are not safe. We do not feel safe. The numbers don't lie about crimes other than murder. And there is dysfunction and disruption within the police department. They do not have much confidence in their leadership. They do not seem to think that they are doing their jobs properly in terms of them being recognized for doing their jobs properly. And people who don't deserve it are getting promotions.
Uganda's main opposition party says leader Bobi Wine was detained upon returning to the country from a trip abroad, but police later said they had accompanied him to his residence. The singer-turned-politician arrived at the airport yesterday after a tour of several countries, including South Africa. We get more in this Al Jazeera report.
Opposition leader Robert Chagulanyi, also known as Bobi Wine, didn't even step out of the plane before he was arrested by Ugandan police. They'd been waiting for him on the tarmac. He had just arrived from Canada and South Africa, where he'd been on a political tour for his National Unity Platform party. Police pushed Wine into a waiting car and escorted him home. The arrest appeared to be an attempt to stop a planned procession with his supporters who wanted to welcome him home after 3 weeks abroad. That was not to be.
They drove me to the old airport where they pulled me out and then put me in a military car with many soldiers and police officers. More than 15 people were packed in that car. You know, it was very humiliating, it was very uncomfortable, but I'm glad I reached here.
Security forces used tear gas to disperse people who had gathered outside Wine's home.
I want to tell the world we're not happy about how we're being treated. We slept at the airport, but we kept hiding. Why do the police want to terrify us? Why are we being tear gassed?
Ugandan authorities have a long history of using so-called preventative arrest to detain opposition leaders and stave off demonstrations.
I'm everywhere in chains.
Wine was the front-runner in the 2021 general election. He lost to President Yoweri Museveni, but claimed that the poll was rigged. He was then put under house arrest for days during the post-election period. His supporters say they will keep fighting for their political rights despite the frustrations they say they face.
The United States says it has transferred 1.1 million rounds of ammunition to Ukraine that were seized from Iran by the U.S. Navy last year. More of the forfeited weapons could be headed to Kyiv soon. More from Al Jazeera.
The U.S. Navy made it clear they wanted everyone to see what they said were Iranian weapons meant for Houthi fighters in Yemen and seized from the stateless Dow. They now say they've taken the more than 1 million rounds of ammunition found on it and sent it to Ukraine. The White House and State Department repeatedly pressed on whether they have the legal right to do that.
The Secretary of Defense is authorized, with the concurrence of the Secretary of State, to make available to the government of Ukraine weapons and other defense articles from the United States and other sources. This obviously is one of those other sources.
Under U.S. law, but some are questioning if this violates UN agreements or international law.
Let's just put it this way, given the fact that the Houthis are not technically a state, there is a rightful case to be made for the confiscation of these weapons.
The U.S. has also seized thousands of Iranian guns, almost 200 rocket launchers, and dozens of guided missiles. It's not confirmed, but those are likely headed to Ukraine soon. The Pentagon says it still has about $5 billion it can use to send weapons to Ukraine, but U.S. President Joe Biden is asking Congress for $24 billion. The majority of people in Congress say they want to see that aid sent, but it could come down to just one job: who becomes the Speaker of the House of Representatives. One of the candidates so far, Jim Jordan, says he is against any additional aid and he would control what bills go to the floor. The other, Representative Steve Scalise, says he is in favor of more aid to Ukraine. So you can imagine capitals all over the world are going to be watching to see who wins the Speaker's gavel.
It's time to preview what's coming up on today's Morning Barbados presentation. Well, we're going to introduce you to some more of the athletes heading off to the Pan American Games. They're going to be in to talk to us about what they'll be doing in representing Barbados. Also, the Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committees have a seminar. We'll tell you more about that. Plus, the International Conference on Strengthening Values Education is happening here in Barbados. In a matter of days, we're reaching out to one of the amazing presenters who will be here on island for that conference to talk more about what we can expect at that event. That's all coming up at 6:30, but next we have more news, sports, and weather. So stay with us.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise. When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether. I never feel
so good in a party yet. Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday. You know why?
It's summer vacation, and CBC TV8 says laugh a little. Your mid-mornings have now included some family-friendly, side-splitting series like The Partridge Family, Benson, and Designing Women. TV not to be missed this vacation. Weekdays from 10 a.m. on CBC TV8. It's Match Day Live from the 246 with host Damian Best. Your all-access pass to the action happening in the BFA Premier League and beyond. Every last Monday of the month on CBC TV8. Kickoff time, 8:30 p.m. with analysis from our panel and highlights of the top performances. You can weigh in on the discussion via WhatsApp on 228-5562. It's Match Day Live from the 246.
Barbados Workers Union General Secretary Tony Moore is calling out hoteliers for not honoring long-standing negotiated union arrangements that benefit hotel workers. Speaking on the sidelines of the BWU Founders' Day celebration, she said workers in the tourism sector deserve better.
So those committees are not being respected.
In some instances where the properties are supposed to be sending information to the union so that we are able to verify how things are being allocated, that is not being done. There are some properties who've opted into arrangements where they do not pay service charge, but they pay a premium or are to pay a premium on the basic wage. And reports coming to us is that that is not being done.
She added that workers are not fully benefiting from the service charge, despite it being included in most bills across hotels and restaurants. According to her, there is an issue with the points committee that should be in place to calculate the service charge and the fair allocation to staff.
A worker in the hotel industry is to receive a balanced meal, which would include starches, proteins, and vegetables. But what is happening during COVID, a number of properties pulled back on that provision. They started to pay workers. That will seem good, but paying them $8 could buy you a starch, a protein, and a veg, and then giving them half an hour lunch. So workers like slave have to be hustling off with a little pittance to look and see what they can put with it to get a meal to come back to master before half an hour is up. This is the kind of thing that is undermining and threatening workers in the industry.
Despite last week's heavy rains, the weather continues to be hot, heightening concern about the impact on farmers. Richard Mears, manager at Edgecombe Plantation in St. Philip, says it's going to be tough to remain in business.
The earth is so hot that my concern is that the heat will kill some of the plants that I planted already. I started back cutting cane plants yesterday because over the last 3 days I had 2.5 inches of rain. So I started back, but it is a concern to small farmers and other smaller plantations who rely on rain to do a lot of their work. A lot of my non-sugar could be done by irrigation from my well. So I will not be under as much stress as the farmers who do not have access to well water.
Well, it's time now for us to take a look at today's weather. The barometric pressure stands at 1012.1 millibars, is 28.1 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity stands at 79%, and the winds are blowing out of the east-southeast at 32 kilometers per hour. Present weather, partly cloudy with slight haze. Sea conditions smooth to moderate in open water with swells ranging from 1.5 to 2 meters and increasing. And here's a look at how your tides roll in for today. General forecast for Barbados today, a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. And into the evening, a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. Well, that's today's morning report. Do join us at 12 noon for Newsday, which will be followed by The World at 1 on our radio network of stations. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed. It is already Friday, so thank goodness it's Friday, October 6th. Good to have you in company for another Morning Barbados presentation. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning, and boy, do we have a show planned for you. We're telling you a lot about what's happening with our young sports people. So that's coming up. Today is World Cerebral Palsy Day. It falls on October 6th every year. And this is a global initiative that aims to increase the understanding of cerebral palsy, support support for those who have it, and to promote inclusion, equality, and accessibility for people with this neurological condition, which affects movement and posture. Now, through educational efforts, events, and advocacy, the day strives to create a more inclusive society where individuals with cerebral palsy can thrive and truly fulfill their lives. The theme for this year is Together Stronger, and this theme highlights the importance of unity, collaboration, and mutual support within the cerebral palsy community and beyond. Of course, we are always for inclusion. So think about it. If you couldn't get around, if you couldn't on a day-to-day basis do the basics that you need to do, that is what truly gives a challenge. So let's work on making, Barbados far more inclusive. Just talking about accessibility and equality. It's important that we really advocate for those who maybe don't have a strong voice when it comes to inclusion for equality. That's very, very important. So make sure you consider that today. All right. Now, let me tell you about what else is coming up on today's show. We're going to be talking to Obama scholar Ronelle King. She's founder and director of Life in Leggings, the Caribbean Alliance Against Gender-Based Violence. And she's a 2023 to 2024 Columbia University scholar. She's going to tell us all about that initiative, how she got involved, and we're going to share in her glory how she's continuing to fly the flag high for women's rights. The Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committees and IOC Sustainability Workshop, that's coming up. So Keith Joseph, the president of CANOC, is going to be in to talk to us about that particular workshop that is coming up, as well as the Pan American Games. So we introduced you to a few of the athletes, the sports people who will be representing Barbados. Today is no different. We have Michelle Elliott, who will be in, and Adrian Maynard from 2 different sports. So we're going to tell you which sports they'll be representing, and which disciplines will be heading out to represent Barbados, how the teams are really just shaping up to make sure they bring back the biggest medal count. That, of course, is important. And that is one of the things that we measure, how we perform at the various meets by how many medals our teams are able to bring back to us. Plus, in the social media buzz, we are taking on what's happening all across the internet and sharing that with you. But we want to start this morning by talking a little bit about something very important that's coming up here in Barbados, and that's coming up pretty soon. So we want to make sure that you are on top of that as well. It's a conference on strengthening values education, and is coming to Barbados. When I initially heard about the conference, I was very, very intrigued, because we don't often talk about values anymore. I mean, you talk about them maybe in your private time with others, but we don't talk generally about how values impact us on a daily basis. So this is a perfect opportunity, to my mind, for us to find out more about it and look at how values education has been implemented in other parts of the world, and if it could be worth our while to have it implemented in certain areas here in Barbados. So joining us is principal of the Longdonville Sathya Sai Primary School in Trinidad and Tobago, Raul Heralal, who is going to be talking to us more about values education and how transformative it can be. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, wonderful to have you with us. First of all, talk to us about how you were able to integrate values in education into a primary school.
The program of education that works at our school has been time tested for quite some time. It is a very structured approach to values education that uses a well-designed and well-tested pedagogy, a well-tested curriculum. So we use a two-pronged approach, which is values education in a very direct way, where the children are engaged in classes that are referred to as education in human values classes. Therein, the children study a specific value and the aspect of that value. They look at, through various strategies, how that value impacts them, how it impacts their relationships, how it impacts their home, how it impacts their school life and their study life. And quite importantly, the other prong of this approach is values-based action, which we like to refer to as values in action. So we look at how values are translating in the school environment, how it impacts the ethos or the culture or the climate of the institution, how the children react to being disciplined, how they interact with their teachers, how they interact with visitors in the school, how they learn values through projects and through play. So our values education program tends to be implemented in this multi-pronged approach.
Now, I don't know if you've been an educator for a very long time. You most certainly do not look that way. But I would love to hear how you've seen children engage and interact and learn outside of this environment as compared with children who have been exposed to values education and the teaching that goes along with that, you know, and all of the other things that make it what it is.
That's a very good question, because you speak directly to how we are assessing the outcomes of values education. Is it actually impacting our space and our community? And that's really what we have to assess. Our school in particular in Trinidad, our Londonville Satisai Primary School, is located in a very interesting catchment where we have a very wide range of communities that are more underprivileged, spanning all the way up to communities that are not. And so we have some sensitive areas as well, and we have children who come from a variety of socioeconomic conditions and backgrounds. And what I have noticed is that there's a translation of the practice of values from the school into the home environment. So you see our parents telling us that the children speak with the language of values in their home, and they speak about right conduct and behavior, and they remind their parents about the same as well. They remind their peers, and they remind their neighbors and their friends in the community. And so we hope, in an informal sense, when we look at assessing how values education is impacting our space, that in this way it is translating into the environment. It is taking the values home, and it is especially, we hope, making a difference in communities that perhaps needs it the most.
Absolutely. Now, I see that you've been really teaching in this area or in this way for the better part of the last 14 years, which I think is important. But you touched on something that I want to follow up on, the importance of parents to the integration of anything that you teach children. And I believe for your presentation as a part of the workshop, you're going to be targeting especially parents and parent-teachers associations so that they understand how important they are, how important their role is to integrating any form of values education into our school system.
The interesting thing about this is that parenting has perhaps one of the most profound effects on our society, be it Trinidad and Tobago, be it Barbados, be it the wider CARICOM. And ironically, perhaps we pay the least attention to it as an aspect of learning. So values in parenting therefore becomes very important. There's a quote that says that the home is the practice grounds for right conduct. And, even in the Caribbean community, perhaps yourself and myself would have grown up with a culture of grassroots universal values. And undoubtedly, parenting and the nature of parenting in the home is shifting. The dynamics are shifting based on various factors. We have the impact of technology in the space. We have the impact of a different type of schooling. We have the impact of social media on children. We have the impact of a generation now that is coming up who are becoming parents and perhaps may not have fully grasped the magnitude of the task. And so when we look at parenting with human values in mind, we look at returning to that grassroots level, that foundation that our Caribbean space was based on in terms of how we grew up children, those universal values that we share, and how therefore we are contributing to producing children who are going to benefit our Caribbean society as a whole. So in our Human Values Conference that is coming up, one of the workshops that we will have is on parenting with education in human values in mind. And we will attempt to look at how parenting is shifting, what factors are contributing to those shifts, what are the similarities with parenting in the past that we've experienced and the similarities today as well as the differences, and then how we can contextualize all of that in the realm of universal human values that need to be infused in parenting so that we can continue to try to do a better job at this most profound task that we have.
Absolutely. And I hear everything that you said. Over the years, we've truly shifted and are concentrating a whole lot more on maybe racing through a curriculum so that we can say the students know the book work, but so much of what people contribute to our society hinges on who they are, how they think, what they do. And I get that this is at the core of values education.
Absolutely. And, if we can really make an impact on values education in the home, I think we will perhaps have the most positive exponential result in the society. And I don't think any country is limited by its borders in terms of a need in this regard. We are seeing it as a global issue now. So we need to look at it from that scale. How are we treating this as a matter that requires improvement of our competence in parenting with human values?
Well, we're talking about this in very general terms, obviously, because we're limited by the time that we can speak to each other this morning. But I'd like you to hone in on just one thing that stands out for you in terms of what we should focus on as parents or as members of parent-teachers associations who really will be targeted with your presentation. Is there any one thing that you can highlight for us to kind of bring home the importance of teaching values when it comes to starting, especially from the primary level?
We are looking at a series of universal human values, but most importantly, we need to look at love and arising out of love, the importance of respect, how we communicate with each other, how we reconcile and recognize our differences, how we teach our children how to engage in that kind of a space, how we communicate with those persons who deal with our children on a daily basis, how we exemplify behavior for our children, right conduct with the idea of respect and love. That kind of response is perhaps most important. So these are some of the ideas in both an esoteric and a very specific way that we hope to explore by means of our parenting workshop.
And I'm so happy that you said explore, because these things, I mean, there are no finite lines around what you can talk about and where you can go with it, but a conversation as a starter is very, very important to explore values education and how it can help pour into our children. I want to thank you, Mr. Raul Hiralal, principal of the Longdonville Sathya Sai Primary School in Trinidad and Tobago. We look forward to your presentations as a part of the upcoming Strengthening Values Education Conference that comes off from the 12th to 14th of October, just a matter of days, here in Barbados. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so some very interesting stuff for us to think about and talk about. We definitely should talk about it. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have a young lady who continues to do exceptional things, not only here in Barbados, but across the globe. She is making moves. Ronelle King is next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it. Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
I'm Anne St. John, a consultant pediatrician. When packing healthy lunch boxes, do include a fruit, which includes a banana, apple, orange, or grapes to supply fiber. Aim for low-calorie packaged snacks without the mention of flour or sugar amongst the four ingredients on the back label. 1 in 3 children in Barbados is affected.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh.
I'm Anne St. John, a consultant pediatrician. When packing healthy lunch boxes, do include a fruit, which includes a banana, apple, orange, or grapes to supply fiber. Aim for low-calorie packaged snacks without the mention of flour or sugar amongst the four ingredients on the back label. 1 in 3 children in Barbados is affected by overweight or obesity. Let us join together as parents and care providers to reduce the further development of this chronic non-communicable disease within our communities.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Check, check, mic check. I'm going to have to do like the DJs. You know, they say the DJs can't count past 2. So they go 1, 2, 1, 2. Anyways, today's Friday. And all this month, we are talking to you all about breast cancer awareness. So we're encouraging you to wear pink. Full disclosure, this is close to pink. This is as close to pink as I could get today. Maybe I'll be pinker on other days, other Fridays, but we're encouraging you to come out in your pink and represent for breast cancer awareness every Friday. If you could wear every day of the week. I know there are lots of people out there who love their pink, especially the guys. Now, I told you we were going to connect with Ronelle King, who's founder and director of Life in Leggings. We heard about that a few years ago, and it really, really took off. And she's been flying the flag high for women ever since then. She's also part of the Caribbean Alliance Against Gender-Based Violence. And now she's pleased to announce something else. So good morning and welcome. Congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
All right. Now, first of all, for those people who don't know, give us an overview of Life in Leggings and how that got started.
So Life in Leggings was started in 2016 on November 24th, like a day shy of the 16 days of activism. It started from me sharing my personal experiences as a survivor of gender-based violence, and it organically took off where women across the Caribbean shared their own experiences of gender-based violence, found solidarity, and advocated for a region free of violence.
All right, so talk to me about this fork in the road that you're at. I like to refer to amazing opportunities as kind of a fork in the road. So you're going in another direction that could take you so many places as now a scholar of the Obama Foundation. Tell me about how that came about.
So the Scholars Program, first of all, you apply for it. But this part of the program, because it's two cohorts, one in Columbia, one in University of Chicago. So there are 12 scholars in my cohort. We would have initially applied because we were individuals and activists who were founders of our own organization, or at least leading organizations that have done impactful work. And we saw the benefit of the Columbia University and Columbia World Projects, where the program is situated, as well as the Obama Foundation and the support and the resources, the access to those resources that could get us further in our career. So it's kind of like a push, an endorsement and a push to go further than where you've gone initially.
What are you looking forward to most in taking off to be a part of these programs?
So for me, every program that I've been a part of, I've benefited greatly from, in not just the access to the resources that are there, but the people who are there. There's a woman in my program who's from Vietnam, who's working on gender-based violence as well. But she comes from it from a different approach that I haven't considered, and she's also looking at it from an approach that I'm skilled in. So we're kind of working with each other to increase the impact of our organizations. But again, there's so many things that you can initially benefit from. I'm doing executive coaching, academic and professional mentorship. I'm attending graduate level courses at the University of West Indies, the Columbia University, which is allowing me to be able to really move from theory to practical in my work. And we've been attending a ton of events and participating in panels as well on these important issues. We've been really welcomed by the Columbia University faculty and the entire body. And really, it's been a phenomenal journey thus far. And just yesterday, we got to meet President Obama, so that was just the icing on the cake.
Well, you can't just drop that without saying more, right? You got to meet President Obama. Yes.
Yes. So we had a one-on-one informal conversation with him, and we talked about democracy. We talked about the importance of civil society and our role in obviously preserving democracy in our countries and abroad. And the type of work that I do, I think most people would wonder, how is that relevant to democracy? But being able as civil society to work with your government without being penalized, to have input to shape policy, legislation, to hold your government accountable, that's all part and parcel of preserving and protecting your democracy.
Oh, that's wonderful stuff. I'm so jealous you got to meet President Obama. All I could do is watch him on TV and read his books.
My mom is a big fan, so I told him that. He told me to tell her hi, and I'm pretty sure she fainted. But
Just from you telling her that he said.
Yes. There are a number of people that we got to meet, which again helped shape our view in this program. While I'm here, I'm looking at climate change and how that can exacerbate existing gender inequalities and resulting things like violence against women and girls. Looking at how, like, the majority of people who are displaced as a result of climate disasters are women, and how they're, they experience things such as human trafficking and sexual violence, and how my work can be a part of the larger global push in centering these gendered perspectives. So we've met people and talked about these issues in the Caribbean with people like Hillary Clinton, Nobel laureates. We attended events with the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation. It's honestly a lot. I could spend all day talking about it.
Absolutely, I can just imagine. But what I'm most curious about is you mentioned there's someone in your, 12-person strong cohort from Vietnam. I would imagine there are people representing different parts of the world. And when we talk about things like gender-based violence, I know depending where you are in the world, the story is different. How people view it is different. Even how it's talked about, and if it is talked about, is really on a different plane. So how are you navigating that, being able to share our Barbadian and Caribbean experience? Because even within our region, there's such stark and subtle differences in terms of how we view violence against women or how women are treated. So how are you navigating, kind of working along with people who often share such diverging views?
Well, so far it's been a great experience. And for me, also, it gives me that perspective, as I said, that I hadn't approached my work from. So I knew, for example, things about, even when we talk about doing this work, even women human rights defenders experience violence, state-sanctioned violence, and so on and so forth. And that is the reality for my friend Huang from Vietnam. Even how she is approaching her work, how it's easy for me to get NGO status, and that's not the reality for her. In terms of the lack of resources that she has in doing her work, having to fundraise every single thing, whereas we've been fortunate enough to have partnerships, the way, and despite having such limited resources, she's been able to storytell in a way that furthers her impact to be able to get the resources to help her community. But one of the larger things that comes out of it that we both share is a big issue of shifting culture and deeply rooted societal norms, regardless of Barbados, Vietnam, wherever. This is the reality. It's a patriarchal world, right? But it's not only her as well. There's a girl from Tonga who I'm a part of another network with her, the Queen's Young Leaders Program. She works with increasing women's participation in politics, which is a program of ours as well, because we believe in educating young girls in advocacy and learning about the ways how gender-based violence can impact them and how they can use mechanisms like Parliament to advocate for their rights and pass legislation that they may need.
All right, well, we could talk about this all day. And I heard you when you said that you are working toward a program that really talks about the intersection between women and climate change and climate disasters and so on. And that has really piqued my interest. So I look forward to that being top of the table when you get back to beautiful BIM from enjoying all of these other very different spaces. So, all I'll ask you is, to make sure that you come on back. I know you do Pink Parliament, like you mentioned, and so on, but make sure you come back and share a lot of what you learn with a lot more young women who are always thirsty for new information and to be a part of something greater than themselves. I want to congratulate you and thank you so much. Ronelle King, now having another notch as Obama Scholar. How about that? Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here as we get you ready for an update of the news. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
I'm Anne St. John, a consultant pediatrician. When packing healthy lunch boxes, do include a fruit, which includes a banana, apple, orange, or grapes to supply fiber. Aim for low-calorie packaged snacks without the mention of flour or sugar amongst the
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's time now for an update of the news. Bringing Barbados' education system to world standards for all involved will require key partnerships. That's according to Prime Minister Mia Amor-Montley. Delivering the feature address at the launch of Education Transformation Proposals, she spoke to some of the links already established, such as one between Erdiston Teachers Training College and an Ivy League institution.
The partnership will also come in twinning Erdiston Teachers Training College with an Ivy League school to be able to ensure that the capacity constraints of Erdiston and Barbados with a declining population do not undermine our ability to do what you heard here this evening. Because if we are to be the best that we can be, we heard that we need to provide the leadership training and the teacher training on a continuous basis to be relevant to the times in which we live, but never leaving the values that are necessary to anchor our people with Bajan values.
Prime Minister Montley says the partnerships are not only external.
The Ministry of Education cannot execute this on its own. They will need almost every other ministry in this country if they are to be successful in ensuring that we can roll out this program over the course of the next few years. The partnerships with the Barbadian households and communities. This is not about school children alone. This is not even about parents alone. It's about living in a safe society. It's about living in a healthy country. It is about doing the things that are necessary to allow our people to guarantee that Mission 2030 is possible, but beyond that, that we can, for the first time as an independent country, give ourselves the assurance that we are truly making each child matter for that firm foundation that is necessary for this country to move to the next level.
Referring to a recent conversation with the diaspora at St. Francis College in New York, she made the point that many feel as though they left the island without having a fair enough chance in the education system.
I asked a simple question: how many people in this room, there were about 400 or 500 people, how many Bajans in this room left Barbados feeling that they needed to have another chance to be able to access education or training and not to be constrained by the judgment of somebody else about what school they went to or what school tie they had or what they could achieve or not achieve in life? And it hurt my heart when 2/3 of the room put up their hands. This country cannot keep exporting some of its best talent simply because we have not given them the chance to be the best that they can be in the land of their birth. It cannot be.
Now, despite last week's heavy rains, the weather continues to be hot, heightening concern about the impact on farmers. Richard Mayers, manager at Edgecombe Plantation in St. Philip, says it's going to be tough to remain in business.
The earth is so hot that my concern is that the heat will kill some of the plants that I planted already. I started back cutting cane plants yesterday because over the last 3 days I had 2.5 inches of rain. So I started back, but it is a concern to small farmers and other smaller plantations who rely on rain to do a lot of their work. A lot of my non-sugar could be done by irrigation from my well. So I will not be under as much stress as the farmers who do not have access to well water.
Mr. Mayor says the problem is compounded by the bad state of many wells all across Barbados.
Most of the farmers will have to do it on their own, being private farmers. Once you invest in certain pieces of equipment on a farm, you could fill out a rebate form and get back rebates from the Ministry of Agriculture. But there's a list of what you can get back and how much per item. But you will only know once you apply for the rebate, or you go in there and get a rebate guideline where it tells you how much money per each item you could get back.
A University of the West Indies student is now able to attend classes free of some financial burden. Andre Greenwich received a generous donation from the English District of the Freemasons in Barbados. The gesture is a means of the Valley Council Lodge number 229, fulfilling one of the tenets of Freemasonry, charity. Greenwich is pursuing a degree in international relations, and this is the second year the lodge has contributed to a UE student. District Grand Prefect of the Allied District of the South and East Caribbean, Richard Mayers, says charity and assistance go beyond education.
Districts step up in a big way every year, where we do Barbados Heart and Stroke, breast screening, cancer support, Barbados Cancer Society, Down syndrome, dyslexia. We step up to the plate and do a lot of charity work district-wise. But Valley Council main goal is to continue with this student scholarship for a student at UE annually.
Now, Andre Greenwich is thankful for the assistance, and he outlined his plans.
Hopefully, I would love to work in an international organization. Again, where policy is the main focus, that I can help build and support other countries as well.
Now, legendary track and field coach and co-founder of the MVP Athletics Club in Jamaica, Paul Francis, has hailed Barbadian double world championship bronze medalist Sade Williams as a world-class athlete. Francis was speaking on the sidelines of a special ceremony at the Grantley Adams International Airport, where Williams was recognized by government with the unveiling of 2 portraits and a billboard in her honor, along with some monetary support. Francis, who has coached some of the most decorated Olympians, such as Jamaica's Asafa Powell, Elaine Thompson-Herah, and Sharika Jackson, says Williams has the potential to become an Olympic champion in future.
She's extremely disciplined, and at the end of the day, she is a coach's dream, and the more she recognizes that what she's doing works, is the more she resists her natural inclinations to stop and give up and keep going for that extra one. And I can tell you as a fact that even Sade Williams in 2022 season versus Sade Williams in 2023 season were 2 different persons, and I figure that it will make even a big difference coming for Paris 2024. Because of her discipline and having the winning attitude, which is required for her to go all the way to the top.
Congrats, Sade. Well, that's our next Newscast is coming up at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 on our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 94.7 FM, and 98.1 The One. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, not only grown-ups can sing, we can too.
So easy on me, baby. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to.
CBC TV8 is having a kids karaoke show just for us. So children between the ages of 5 to 17 come in and join in for fun. Email Nadia Foster at nfoster@cbc.bb. Hear you soon. Bye.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back. So we're taking a look at breast cancer awareness all in this month of October. So we're encouraging you to wear your pink, different shades of pink. Any shade of pink will work. So make sure you come out today and show your support. But most importantly, get your checks so that we can beat this thing. It's time now for us to speak with Mr. Keith Joseph, who's president of CANOC, that's the Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committees. Good morning. Good to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
All right. Wonderful stuff. I'm told that you're just out of a workshop that happened on sustainability. So if you can give us a quick review of what that was like and how it turned out, then we can move on to what else you're working toward.
Actually, the workshop turned out to be beyond our expectations. We had the countries of the Caribbean came together. Of course, we are made up of national Olympic committees as well as Commonwealth Games associations, which are for those countries that are not, that do not have national Olympic committees. And we had a team from the International Olympic Committee's Sustainability Department. It's the Olympic movement's attempt at working with communities, with sporting organizations, athletes, coaches, everybody, all of the sporting stakeholders in the region to make a contribution to the battle to save our planet. And it was very well attended, and the participation was excellent. We focused on the situation at the global level, understanding what is the state of the planet, what needs to be done, who needs to be involved, which is all of us. And at the end of the day, we had the contributions of a project from the Cayman Islands, which had to do with mangrove reef restoration and the use of crushed glass to put back into the soil to facilitate the expansion of the mangrove vegetation in Cayman Islands. We also had a similar case from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, again looking at mangrove restoration, the protection of coastlines. We had a contribution from Barbados, the Walkers Enterprise, and we also had from the Virgin Islands the provision of a dome that will serve both as a sport facility, indoor sport facility, as well as a shelter in the case of hurricanes. The participation was something that we didn't quite expect in terms of people's awareness of the state of the planet and of the state of Caribbean countries, which of course are small, vulnerable. We're subjected to rising sea levels. We have erosion. We have hurricanes, tropical storms coming more frequently. And so the idea was to have sporting organizations engage themselves along with governments and other partners within their respective countries to make a more concerted effort to meet the requirements of the Sustainable Development Goals. The fact of the matter is that over the years that we've been practicing sport, few have taken the time to look at sport beyond competition. Sport is about life. And our athletes, our coaches, our administrators come from their respective societies. Consequently, they need to be as concerned about what is happening in their respective countries, whether it is be in the social sphere, the economic sphere, or generally in the environment. And that's what we are seeking to do, and that's what it was about, ensuring that sport takes a place, a rightful place, alongside with other stakeholders in society.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, when we think about sports, we seldom think about where sport intersects with society generally and other causes, for the lack of a better term, at large. And most certainly, I would imagine the average person is not thinking about how climate change, for example, will affect the way we're able to practice sports, how we're able to participate, how it can affect athletes and other sporting entities or people generally in terms of how they engage with their world or their space. So what else is planned coming up? Because that was a pretty hot pace to get things started. Certainly not what I was looking for when I thought about sporting organizations discussing sustainability. So you most certainly will have to continue along this line, I would imagine, to open up these organizations thinking to how they engage with the many publics whom they serve.
Yeah, the thing is, for example, we also don't pay much attention to how sport impacts the environment. You know, when we go to sporting activities and we use the bottles of water, what do we do with the plastic that we have used and generated, the amount of plastic we have generated at the sporting competition? Can we do something better? Can we find ways of ensuring that the use of even of our facilities and the construction of our facilities are more pertinent to the fight against the use of articles and so on that impact the environment negatively. So we need to be more careful as to how we do that. But additionally, what we got from the participants was a commitment, first of all, that they felt that we should endorse the attempts being made by our international federations and the International Olympic Committee and the United Nations relative to combating the consequences of climate change, but also to form alliances as national Olympic committees around the region to work with our respective governments and agencies to do more in our respective countries. In terms of the future, all of our NOCs have been asked to make the formal application to sign on to the Sport for Climate Action, which is an initiative of the United Nations, and work in tandem with the International Olympic Committee. Once we do that, you can access some funding from sporting organizations and other agencies to help with projects that you can develop in your respective countries to show that sport is doing more. We believe that there should be a full-fledged education program. In fact, some of the participants were suggesting that, you know, we need to have a discussion with the Ministry of Education. If we start at the school level, encouraging and informing, educating children about the importance of the environment and what is happening with the environment by man's own action, then we're more likely to have that sustainable impact, because as they grow older and more mature, the good practices that they undertake will impact positively the societies in which they live and provide a sort of sustainable future for generations as yet unborn.
All right. Coming up tomorrow is the Caribbean Sport Influence and Value Generation. You say catalyzing responsible, sustainable, and impactful programming and initiatives. That's another workshop that's coming up?
Yes, it's another workshop. The first workshop over the 4th and 5th was in collaboration with the International Olympic Committee. This workshop is an annual workshop that we have as CANOC, our internal workshop. And each year we choose a topic that we think is relevant. And what we're looking at this year is really how, as people involved in sport, we are looking at the societies in which we live, issues of social justice, issues of putting a voice for what obtains in our respective societies. So you'll see, for example, that we are going to be talking about the global situation. We're going to be talking about what is happening with regard to reparative justice that the rest of the society is talking about, because it's not just about Sir Hilary Beckles representing CARICOM at the level of the international community to talk about reparation, but sport has a role to play. What is sport's view on the issues impacting society today? Does sport have a view on the international sports response to the situation with regard to Russia's participation and Belarus's participation? It may seem remote, but it impacts us because we sit at the table and therefore we have a voice and we have a vote. Issues about gender equality within sport. Are we discriminating against one group unduly as opposed to embracing the concept of inclusion rather than separation of our colleagues within the sport framework? So the idea is that at the end of the day, what do we want? We want to be sure that we are engaged in the creation of a responsible approach to sport, an approach to sport that is sustainable, an approach to sport that is impactful on every one of our stakeholders. There is a sense in which for many, many years we've been saying sport must not touch certain issues. Sports people must stay away from voicing an opinion. And you know that in different eras, we've had sports persons, athletes who have stood up for causes, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the environment. Certainly the time has come for us in the Caribbean to realize that we've always been involved in dealing with issues. CLR James, Larry Constantine, they utilized cricket and their engagement in county cricket in England to start the process of discussing among sports people and then among the wider society the move for independence in the Caribbean. They were concerned about the evidence of racism, for example, that they saw in West Indies cricket. And they made a case for Frank Worrell, at the time deemed the most articulate and capable person to lead the West Indies. And they made that case. Things have changed over time, but certainly we cannot allow sport to be part and parcel of our society. But when it comes to contentious issues, we have no voice. We retreat. That does no good for us. And increasingly, athletes who are themselves creating value by the entertainment that they provide in the competition arena will begin to ask themselves, so am I just a tool to be used for your enjoyment? What about me? What about my opinion on issues that impact me? And so sport has a right to sit at the table discussing other issues, whether at the national, regional, or international level. And I think that's what we're going to be looking at over the workshop tomorrow. And of course, at the assembly, we'll be discussing our affairs that allow us to say, okay, this is where we are at this point. The theme actually is for our workshop and assembly really is beyond possible. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary. And for us, it is a major milestone. We appreciate the work that Steve Stout would have done in pioneering the establishment of this organization. And we have invited him. We hope he'll be here to see where we have reached the level of maturation that we have reached as an organization. And so we believe that we are at an inflection point as an organization involved in sport in the Caribbean of utilizing sport as a valuable tool and mechanism for bringing Caribbean peoples together.
Wonderful. I want to congratulate you for what you're doing. And I mean, you've said a lot. That gives us a lot to think about. But most importantly, I love that you talked about athletes and sports people generally using their platform to advocate and to be a voice and to share their opinion. I think that's truly important. We've seen a lot of the fallout from sporting people sharing their opinions. I know that many would remember a Republican politician in the U.S. famously saying to a very, very popular basketballer, "Shut up and dribble." So we know what people mean when they say stuff like that. So to see you in your 20th year or celebrating this 21st assembly, moving to a place where you are talking about society at large and things that affect sporting generally is very heartening. I want to thank you for sharing with us, Mr. Keith Joseph, President of the Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committees. I'd like to be a fly on the wall listening into some of these workshops, but I know people sitting on the sidelines. Good morning, Ms. Wiggins. So I certainly will be finding out what's happening. Again, all the best, and thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope you continue to do your work as well as you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great.
All right, time for another break. When we come back, a whole lot more here on Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout, or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aa.grant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, the Pan Am Games will be coming off shortly in Santiago, Chile. We've been introducing you to some of the athletes who are going to be representing Barbados as they go off in their bid to bring home all the medals. Help me welcome Michelle Elliott and Adrian Maynard. Now, two very interesting areas you're both competing in. Ladies first. Michelle, shotgun, skeet. Yes. Explain for those of us who are not sure exactly what we're talking about.
So it's shotgun shooting. There's two different disciplines in shotgun. There's skeet and there's trap. And I shoot skeet, which is where we have two targets that are consistent, but we move position. So the perception of the target changes as we move position.
How did you get into shooting?
It's something I used to do as a hobby with my father. My father grew up doing it. I also have an older brother. And when my brother decided to start shooting, I was like the younger sister that said, well, I want to try it too. And it was a hobby I did in school holidays and things like that with my father. But I was first and foremost an equestrian, and everybody used to know me as a horse rider first.
All right,
So,
interesting transition.
Yes.
From equestrian sport into shotgun. And why skeet? Why do you choose this particular area of shooting?
So when I first started shotgun, it was what we call sporting. So it's more a simulation of bird flight. And there was a particular type of target that I was struggling with. And everybody at the club said, well, you need to get on a skeet range to learn to shoot that type of target. I actually opposed it to start with because I said, oh, skeet was very boring. And then I got on the skeet range, found that I could actually do it and that it was an Olympic discipline. And I said, oh, well, I quite like doing this now, and I never got off it.
All right, truly excellent. Now, sitting next to you is Adrian Maynard. And Adrian, you're into wrestling.
Yes, please.
Now, you could fit right in my household because everybody in my house likes wrestling. When we think wrestling, we think WWE. No comment from you because I understand the entertainment value there. But let me know how you got into wrestling. And it's a little different from what we experience in the world of wrestling entertainment.
Yes, please. First, I start off with taekwondo. Do that for about 8 years. Then I transitioned into a little kickboxing, just trying my hand at a lot of different combat sports. Then eventually I was just sent onto the beach to wrestle with my current coach, I'm a Pien, where I just decided to pick up the sport. And they were saying that I was understanding the sport fast, grasping concepts, so that's how I eventually got into it, and I tend to like it now more than ever.
All right, now, how do you start with the taekwondo? Because I know a lot of the times the parents are the ones who kind of put the little ones into these disciplines, and then from there you determine if you like it or what have you. So how do you get into that?
Actually, when I first started, it came to my primary school, and it was like, I was always infatuated with the martial art aspect of life, and it was just, actually when I grabbed the farm, I carried home, my parents decided to support me in every decision I made. So it was my decision to join and just continue going on in my life with martial arts aspect.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, talk to me about some of the interesting things that you've discovered about wrestling.
Well, so far it has been a lot of Latin American countries I go into, and the culture is different. Wrestlers tend to be more of a family, although you're competing against each other. It's like from the time you walk in the arena, you show up, you get the venue, everyone is shouting, Barbados, Chile, Colombia. It's a lot. Although there's a language difference, you feel more at home when you're with wrestlers than, for me, any other sport.
All right, now I don't know if Michelle was thinking this. I don't know if I'm in your head, girl, but I don't know if you look like a wrestler to me, because when I think about wrestlers, I'm thinking, I want muscles. I don't know. So talk to me about your weight class in terms of what you do so that we can qualify that a little bit.
Well, currently I fight in 3 different styles, which would be beach wrestling, freestyle wrestling, and Greco-Roman. But so far I qualified to go Santiago, Chile with Greco-Roman, fighting the 77 kg class. Therefore, you have a lot of competition against the U.S. and the Cuba and Colombia and Puerto Rico, these Spanish-speaking countries. You don't have U.S. in there, Canada sometimes. So it's just, although I feel like although you usually be the youngest, it still feel like I belong there at a point in time.
Oh, that's wonderful stuff. Michelle, how do you feel being able to step out and represent for Barbados? We heard Adrian talking about going into venues and hearing people shout out Barbados' name and how rewarding that feels.
It's massively rewarding. It's a massive honor. It's a privilege. And I wear my uniform every single time I step out onto that arena with absolute pride. And there's no better feeling really than that. Yes, it does come with a certain amount of pressure as well, because you are wearing your team uniform, your national colours. But it is an absolute honor to be able to do so.
Talk to me about what it takes to be able to really excel to a level where you are selected to be a part of a team to represent for your country in the area of shooting. Is a wonderful excuse, of course, to say, ooh, I have to practice today.
You know what? It's a lot of scheduling because I do work. I'm a professional, not just a student and just an athlete. So there is a lot of scheduling involved in it. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication. In my training, it's not just shooting. That's just the technical aspect. There is psychological training. There is strength training. There are mental skills. I do have, and I have built quite a team behind me. It's not just me. I'm the person you see out front, but I have a massive team behind me, and it has taken time to find those people to work with together. But it does take a massive amount of time, dedication, and energy, and sacrifice.
Just imagine. Wow. And not to forget the sacrifice, as you mentioned at the end. What about you, Adrian? What does it take for you to be able to stay in shape and keep going?
Determination, dedication, those 4 o'clock morning runs on the road, get school, go train in the evening. It's just a lot of time management. Gotta be able to support others, even at training. It's like the dedication you take. Some days you push beyond your limits. You feel like just sitting down on the mat and giving up, but you just have to go because there's a goal in mind. You have to get there somewhere, somehow.
Now, you've won bronze in the under-17 Pan Am Games in Argentina. Then you went on to compete in Canada at the Wrestling Cup against the best wrestlers from all around Canada. You won bronze medal overall. Also, in 2022, you became the King of the Sand in Barbados at the Senior Beach Wrestling International Championships and the Best Emerging Athlete of 2022 at becoming the first ever Caribbean male Bajan athlete to represent the country in a World Wrestling Championship in Italy. I mean, these are some pretty grand accomplishments. It must make you feel really great how you've been able to soar in the sport of wrestling.
Just a lot of dedication, keeping fit, going training constantly. Some days you don't feel like going, but them days you have to get up and go and get what you have to get. Although I completed so much in my life, I'm not finished yet. Have more to get. So I'll be on stage quite a lot.
Listen, that's quite a title, King of the Sand. I love it.
Yeah, it was hard to get there, but you just have to keep going and grab all the support you can and train hard.
Listen, if you see this guy, even if he's not on the sand, don't even try to approach him. He's more than King of the Sand. Now for you, you've been playing, Michelle. You really have been, you said you've been a part of this sport for a long time, but you started at 13 years old as a hobby, like you said, with your dad, and you've competed over a number of years, first qualifying in 2015, and you've really continued to grow. Now this year you say was a big year where you included women's skeet for the first time in the CAC Games. I know you were happy to walk away with silver medal.
Yes.
And, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the upcoming Pan Am Games. I heard you're quietly optimistic.
I am quietly optimistic. It's not going to be an easy shoot. We do have world champions, World Cup medalists. It's not going to be an easy task, but it's not an impossible task. So I'm quietly optimistic, but what I really, really want is I want to win one of those quota places to Paris 2024.
Absolutely. You have your sights set on the Olympics.
Yes.
What will that mean in terms of this scheduling that you talked to me about?
Well, first of all, I'd have to talk with coach, and we would determine then a training schedule if that were to happen. Otherwise, right now, it would stay the same as it is. 4 times a week on the range, 3 times a week in the gym, once a week with the psychological trainer, and it will go on like this.
It's always amazing. Coming on stream, we've heard the government talking a lot about moving to a place where we're going to have a national sports policy.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally hope that that's going to make a major difference in how we see sport, how we approach sport, because for athletes like you, who are out flying the Bajan flag high and representing for our country and doing so well, I think for you to be able to truly embrace your sport and not have to go to work, go to school, yes, but concentrating on so many other things, pardon me, outside of being able to kind of focus and hone in on your craft, I think that can be a little limiting. So maybe with this new move toward really embracing sport fully, we'll be able to see people across disciplines do exceptionally well, even better than you guys are doing with all the limitations. Yeah? All right, so Paris 2024, and what do you have your sights set on?
So far, I would like to be able to compete in Olympics, just in 2028 probably. Just once I keep doing what I have to do, I'll be able to compete and hopefully bring back a medal for Barbados.
Take that hopefully out of there. Bring back a medal for Barbados. You have to say it like that. What are you studying at SJPI?
Currently, I'm doing the certificate in animal husbandry. So then we'll go back for next year and do the diploma.
All right, well, that's excellent. So you're an animal lover then?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Interesting stuff. Great to have both of you, Adrian Maynard and Michelle Elliott, performing in shooting, skeet shooting specifically. Correct. And but when we say skeet, we don't mean anything to do with the sea Bajans. Because when we think of skeets and we talk about skeets, it's something else. Or if skeet is being spoken about in relation to dancing, is something totally different. That, of course, is the Bajan stuff. And Adrian over here competing in the field of wrestling. More specifically, he's the king of the sand. Beach wrestling. You see this guy? Stay far. But I wish you both the very best in heading out to represent Barbados for the Pan Am Games. And when you come back, be sure to come back and share with us, share all the pictures of how you do. And we look forward to sharing that with our Barbadian audience as well.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. How about that? Always great to see our athletes, people who are representing for the country. They're getting ready to head off. So, of course, the Pan American Games come off, as I told you, in Santiago, Chile from October 20th to November 5th. And of course, it's a continental multi-sport event in the Americas featuring summer sports in which thousands of athletes participate in a variety of competitions. We wish the entire Barbadian team all the very best. Hey, it's time for another break. It's 17 minutes before the 8 o'clock hour. We'll be back to wrap this week up and tell you what's coming up throughout the weekend. That's next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroke Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives. And when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
98
98.1 The One is more than a station.
We don't just play music, we keep you company, cheer you up, keep you informed and entertained. We are a vibe. What do you mean?
Every day we bring the party to you.
We are your #1 party station.
We love playing music for our listeners.
And we're committed to working with our clients and advertisers to make sure that you get the attention that you deserve.
98.1 The One, celebrating 18 and still your #1 party station.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Ooh, I know you're trying to beat the heat, and so is everybody else across Barbados. We're happy for the little rain. We heard people talking this morning about how scorched the soil is. How about how scorched we are? I made a trip to St. Lucie earlier this week, and I got a good breeze in Pike-Horn. I was in Josie Hill too. Got a good breeze in those areas, so a special good morning to everybody up north. Now we're getting some rain. We had rain yesterday. We had rain earlier in the week on Monday with, some interesting winds and all that good stuff. And people are thinking of creative ways to keep themselves cool. Not only those pesky fans that after a while they start blowing all hot air, like some people I know, but people are coming up with creative ways to keep themselves cool. How about a homemade air conditioning unit?
Just put this on your fan and you're never gonna need an air conditioner again. That's right everyone, and this tip is actually pretty simple. For this, we're gonna need 2 plastic bottles. First, with the help of some tool, cut off the top part of the bottles. So, first make a hole and then start cutting it. We're only gonna need this top part of the bottles. Once you've done that, now you take a sponge and a little bit of soap. Then scrub these parts of the bottles well to remove any residue of the product or any dirt that it might have. And now folks, we're gonna need a styrofoam box, like a cooler box. And also 2 small pieces of plastic tubes, or plastic pipes. It's quite easy to find. You can find it at any hardware store. Then you take the styrofoam box and make 2 markings. Position the tube and the mark on this side and also on the other side. Then use a utility knife or scissors to cut. We're gonna do this in order to pass the tubes through later. That's why you need to mark both sides. Next folks, we're gonna take the bottle pieces that we cut earlier. And then let's attach them to the tube. Take one of them, place it on the tube. You can use electrical tape to secure it well. And you do the same thing with the other tube too. It will look like this. One end with the bottle and one without.
Now that's just one part of it. It seems like a lot of work, but if I'm going to be cool at the end, I would absolutely try that. I would imagine that the good folks at the Barbados Fire Service are saying absolutely not, because they're telling us not to put tape on broken fan cords and stuff, and then we're trying to make air conditioners at home. Maybe not a good idea, but certainly a great place to start looking at ways to beat the heat. I don't know. Tell us, how do you beat the heat? Email us, morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. And let us know how you beat the heat. Hey, we're going to take another break in just a minute, but we have to say congratulations to Alwyn Kirk, who went off. We spoke with a number of members of the team who were heading off to enjoy the 5th Caribbean Development Games. And Alwyn Kirk, he did pretty well. How about that? Archery is what it's all about. So congratulations to you, Owen. I know that you and your wife listen in and watch Morning Barbados. So thank you very much and congratulations to you. We're going to take you up on that invitation for a personal lesson, and we're going to bring the cameras along so that you can teach us a little bit more about archery. Time for a break. When we come back, we're talking about all that's coming up this weekend. We're going to tell you how the members of the Queen's College Association are heading off to Bikini Beach. How about that?
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kia Lewis, General Practitioner and Healthy Lifestyle Advocate. Good nutrition starts at home. So this school year, I want you to consider packing healthy, nutritious snacks and lunches for your children to carry, rather than having them buy them at school. And don't just pack things you think they should have. Have a discussion and come up with things that you both know they will enjoy.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why? It's summer vacation, and CBC TV8 says laugh a little. Your mid-mornings have now included some family-friendly, side-splitting series like The Partridge Family, Benson, and Designing Women. TV not to be missed this vacation. Weekdays from 10 a.m. on CBC.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So today is also I Love QC Day. I hope to see all of the QC alum out in your QC ties, representing for Queen's College today as you celebrate. Of course, there's a competition going on online as well, so snap the photos and put them up for a chance to win. The QC crew will also be heading down to Bikini Beach this evening from 6 o'clock for a lime, as only the QC crew can do. DJ Vid is going to be there. Rashid, Riz Hype Man Holder. That name is quite the DJ names, right? Oh my goodness. So the Queen's College Barbados Alumni Association heading down to the Big Lime at Bikini Beach tonight. If you've not been to Bikini Beach, you definitely need to get out. So a special good morning to Mike and Shakila. Always doing a fantastic job. The staff there are exceptional. Go check it out. Maybe you can check out the QC Lime tonight. Plus, on Saturday, they have a games and karaoke evening at the Mill and Company, Lot 3, Canewood Industrial Park, Canewood over in St. Thomas. So you can go over there. They're going to be doing karaoke and just having a really great time. Also coming, we told you this week about the Barbados 15-day challenge. So we want you to take the challenge. I promised that I would start. They're starting something new on Monday, and we can do it together. It's online, virtual, so you don't have to worry about that. They work out every day. They have a very active community online on Facebook, and their goal is to try to reverse the effects of non-communicable diseases, promote healthy eating, increase your water intake, that's the important part, and daily exercise. So the contact number to be a part of it is 241-1645. You're seeing it at the bottom of the screen. So go ahead and call Sonia Sullivan to be a part of a 15-day challenge, people. We are starting on Monday, so get yourselves together. If you have to go buy one of those big old bottles so that you walk with your water, do that, because we're moving to a place where they want you to start increasing your water intake. So that's a good place to start. Now, the final town hall meeting for the Green Paper on National Sports Policy, that's today as well at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, and that's at 6 o'clock. So if you want to weigh in on that, we mentioned it briefly before, but you definitely have to get in on that action and be a part of it. So that's the National Green Paper on the National Sports Policy that is to come about soon. The Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, Youth Expo and Talent Show 2023 comes off tomorrow, Saturday, October 7th, over at Sky Mall in Haggett Hall from 10 to 6. So go check that out. There's so much to see and do, and it's all about celebrating young people, entrepreneurs, and what they do, what they really have in their pockets. Exodus, The Way Out, the Blueprint community has partnered with Anmar Empowerment Network. Now, you saw them on yesterday, and we had a wonderful conversation about all they're doing in the coming days. They've started already. The youth rally is coming off tonight. It's tonight, 7:15 at the Foundation School. They're going to be featuring Dynamo. We know he's always dynamic. And also the community outreach in the Silver Hill area comes off tomorrow, and that's featuring Nisha Woods. So make sure you get out and be a part of it. It's going to be on the basketball court in Silver Hill. You don't miss it. When you come down the hill from Popular Supermarket, make that left turn into Silver Hill, and you'll, drive for a minute or so, and you're going to come to the courts on the right side. So make sure you go out and be a part of that. Then on Sunday's worship experience, they told us it's going to be truly a great experience for all involved. Now, they worship at the Foundation School, and that is where that worship session will take place. Now, Trumpet Boy, our guy, he is going to be celebrating his father's memory. He passed away a few years ago, and he was an organist. And now Trumpet Boy Entertainment is presenting Love Divine, All Loves Excelling, one of my personal favorite hymns. That's the title, though. A Sylvan Moore Memorial Concert on Sunday, October 8th at 6 p.m. at the Frank Cullimore Hall. Get out and buy your tickets. It's going to be an exceptional presentation of the hymns his father loved but reinterpreted. So make sure you check that out. Miami Carnival is also climaxing this weekend. This week, we had a few of the people from Miami Carnival in talking about its impact over the years and sharing with us that coming up next year, they're going to be celebrating their 40th anniversary. So we're going to have to do it big with them. The weekend is the last lap for Miami Carnival. So for all the friends who went off and left me, good morning, Jay. I hope you're having a good time. I don't mean that. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so there's Juve and Jump Up, and it's going to be an exceptional time in Miami-Dade County all this weekend, representing for Caribbean culture. So we hope that you get out this weekend and enjoy a little something with the wonderful people whom you love. And remember to do something good for somebody this weekend, too. We want you to come on back on Monday. Remember, be good. All right? Wear your smiles. It's nice to be kind. All right? Have a good weekend. If you need some rest, get some rest. If you need to get out, get out. But the most important thing to remember is to come on back to me on Monday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you, God willing, bright and early on Monday. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados.